Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Hyungun, and we are Team 2. Think of a time when you desire something so badly. However, as you try to grasp more and more, it just disappears, which is just like the slipping sand in your fist. Today, we are revealing how Kakao desperately tries to grasp the profitability, but how the situation worsens. In order for Kakao to grow, there are mainly two methods. First method is by increasing the monthly active users. But this method does not seem very feasible because Kakao can expect no more MAU increase in Korea or in other foreign countries. So the next remaining method is by diversifying the businesses. The stock price of Kakao has shown bullish trends with expectations of diversification. However, since 2018, the stock price began to fall due to the worsening profitability. However, still, the current price multiple is 54 times, which is much higher than that of other IT companies. For Kakao to justify this high valuation, they have to prove the profitability. But this mere and vague expectation will not be realizable in the near future, and this is why we recommend you to sell the stock. We suggest a target price of 87,000 won with a downside of 18.3%. So, to briefly introduce the company, Kakao's businesses can be divided into new and core. New businesses include Kakao Page and Pay, while the core business includes advertising and music. Despite of Kakao's efforts, in the new business, Kakao will fail to make profits due to the rapidly increasing costs, and in the core business, lack of competitiveness will lead to the slowdown of revenue growth. Next presenter Hein will explain in more detail about the new businesses.
Okay, thank you, Hyungun. We believe that Kakao's new business will generate low profit because of huge costs. First, Kakao Page. We assume that Kakao Page will generate huge costs incurred by securing contents and intensify competition. In content platform industry, the key driver of attaining users is the quality of content itself. However, it is accompanied huge cost. In fact, in 2017, the sales of Kakao Page increased by 106%. The average fee also increased rapidly. To make matters worse, competition in this industry is becoming intensive. For example, Naver, one of the biggest rivals of Kakao Page, have launched content platform called Naver Series. It also copied Kakao Page's core strategy, wait or pay, to secure more users. As a consequence, our team believes that to survive, Kakao Page will have to spend more cost in this industry. Next, Kakao Pay. Kakao Pay's transaction amount has grown rapidly. However, the amount of loss is also widening because 80% of their transactions are composed of free remittance service. To solve this problem, Kakao Pay recently acquired Borrow Securities and launched new P2P brokerage service. However, our team believes that this service will not be profitable enough to cover the loss of Kakao Pay. Assuming that brokerage fee is 1% of total investment, although Kakao Pay enlarged their amount of investment by 2 times, it can earn only 5.2 billion won in 2019. However, net loss of Kakao Pay was 25.4 billion won in 2017. If we consider the increasing promotion fee by new service, Kakao Pay will not be able to overcome their big deficits. As a result, our team believes that Kakao Pay will have to launch new financial services of their own, not the brokerage service. However, considering the time and money needed to construct systems, Kakao Pay will spend huge costs without any significant profits in 2019. Next presenter Hisa will explain about our core business.
Thank you, Hei. The core business are crucial in order to sustain the operation in new businesses. And among the core business, Melon is the one that contributes most greatly. Almost 102% of total, which means there is a huge deficit in new businesses. However, our team argued that this melon will have to face the slowdown of revenue growth. They will grow 13% this year, but it will change to 8 and 4% for the next 2 years. This will happen due to losing competitiveness. The first reason is a revised law. As you see on this graph, melons should burden more cost from previous 60 to 65% as royalties for creators. Thus, starting from next year, melon's profit structure will worsen. However, melon will unable to transfer their increasing cost to price due to fierce competition. Actually, melon is already losing its market share to YouTube, 43 versus 20% according to research in last May. Even worse, YouTube has launched a premium service which offers the music and video content together, and their price is the same with melon. Thus, with the advent of strong competitor YouTube, melon will face the limitation of raising price. Therefore, since 2019, melon's performance as cash cow will weaken. And this is why we think stock price derating will happen in 2019. Next, Min-sung will explain valuation.
Thank you, Wee-sung. Then what will be our team future projection for this company? As you can see from this graph, the most noticeable aspect is reduced operating profits. Because of huge costs and weakening performance in the businesses, operating margin of Kakao will drop more than half in 2018 and remain low at 6.2% until 2019. So reflecting this low profitability, we suggest sell recommendation with a target price 87,000 won, 18.3% downside. We use some of the parts valuation to reflect each division's industrial differences. To explain more detail, we divided the process into 3 steps. First, for the new businesses, we discounted the appraised enterprise value assessed by other investing companies at the time of investment. However, it was used for reflecting market expectations. However, considering current low profitability, we discounted from its appraised value. And next, for the core businesses, we use relative valuation using EV/EBIT multiples. We use EV/EBIT because operating profitability is the main investment standard for these core businesses. Peer group is comprised of major competitors in the same industry who have similar business model. Finally, we derive the equity value of KakaoBank separately by using PBR multiples. We gave 1.04 our target PBR considering current internet bank premium. So to sum up, we calculated the whole enterprise value by adding up new, core, and KakaoBank, and then we got the whole equity value by adding up the net cash. As a result, we calculated total 7.3 trillion won as our target equity value, which is much lower than market expectations. So from now on, our next presenter, Aram, will talk about some risks for our opinion.
Thank you, Min-sung. From now on, we're going to focus on risk of our view. We consider the main risk is the synergy of KakaoBank with Kakao. KakaoBank is planning to provide loan to mid and low creditors by using payment data from various platforms. In fact, in case of WeBank, who also provide loan by the same method in China, they are showing high profitability with low risk. However, we believe this synergy effect will be limited in the short run. This is because they are still struggling to construct a reliable credit rating system due to lack of data from KakaoPay. As a result, KakaoBank recently announced that it will not expand this loan until 2020. In addition, even if you assume the bull case for KakaoBank, the target price changed only 3%, which means there is still 15% of downside. To conclude, our investment summaries are: first, new business such as Kakao Page and Pay will bring huge costs. Second, core business will lose competitiveness, so it will be hard to cover the loss from new business. With the target price of 87,000 won and downside of 18.3%, we emphasize once again sell recommendation. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for the presentation. The first question is a little bit general, but I'd like to get your response. And that is, you started the presentation by saying that costs are going to increase and that's a major factor. I just wonder, why does that really matter, right? If any business is trying to grow, they're going to have to spend more to grow the business. And so again, it's a general question, but why does rising cost matter?
Thank you for your question. And to answer this question, we focused on the stock price of Kakao in the past years. The stock price for the IT companies, it is important to expand their size by increasing the users, and then they have to give out some monetization models to bring cash to the company. So for the Kakao, since 2015, Kakao started to diversify their businesses, and this was why the stock price began to rise. Because investors were expecting that these newly diversified businesses will bring cash to the company. But after 3 years, it is showing that these newly diversified businesses do not showing off. They do not give any visible performances. So in 2018, the stock price began to fall because these newly diversified businesses are not beginning to show the investors that they are bringing cash. So focusing on this, we thought that profitability may be one of the important issues for these IT companies.
To add more, we focused on the cost structure of Kakao. As you mentioned before, in order for a company to grow, the costs are inevitable. However, the cost of, for example, when we see the Kakao page, 80% of total costs are variable costs, which increase accordingly to the sales. So they are not very profitable business at all. And this is why we focused on the profitability itself. So costs may be reduced, fixed costs will be reduced in the future. However, the cost structure of Kakao is not that profitable enough to satisfy market expectations.
Great. One follow-up question. You showed the chart again of the concern about the operating profit, having an impact on the stock in 2018. Later on in your presentation, you actually show that, according to your forecast, that the operating profit is going to expand, right? This slide exactly. So my question is, if your forecasts are right, and the market sees this after they've been punishing the stock because of concerns about a declining operating profit, couldn't that reverse the trend of the stock price if your forecasts actually turn out to be correct?
Yes, it is true that in 2017, Kakao's operating margin will be improved, but we believe that this is caused by the base effect of 2018's operating margin. 2018's operating margin is the historical lowest point of Kakao's operating margin, so we believe that the most important thing to notice is not the fact that operating margin is improved, but the degree of improvement. So, but as we mentioned, our investment point, Kakao's operating margin will be sluggish because of a huge investment on new businesses and losing competitiveness in core business. So, as we think, Kakao or market expectation for Kakao will not be realizable. So, this high valuation of Kakao current multiple is too high for Kakao.
Okay, well, thank you. My first question is on your SOTP valuation, and you said that you use EV at the time of investment, and I was just wondering, why did you use EV at the time of investment and not maybe current, enterprise value or most recent enterprise value that you can, come up with? And why did you use different discount rates for the businesses, some 10% and some 20%? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. And we refer to the appraised enterprise value assessed by investment companies because of two reasons. The first one is that most of new businesses, as you mentioned before, are now showing extremely low or negative operating profits. So we cannot use any other valuation methods such as DCF valuation or other operating profit-based relative valuation. So we think about the PSR multiples. However, as you mentioned before, these new businesses are growing but with huge costs. So these PSR multiple will not show the operating profitability issue of these new business value. So that's why we focused on test data. And also, at that time, the Kakao Mobility and Kakao Pay, they all assessed by differently. Their current situation was, past situation was different. For example, Kakao Mobility was assessed to be 1.5 trillion won, which we think is a little very high at the time, because immediate taxi hailing service or carpool service at that time, they all expect to be succeeded in the future. However, current situation shows that the taxi union and Kakao is fighting each other, and their profitability structure cannot improve in the near future. So we focused on that part, and we focused Kakao Mobility 20%, and other businesses we discounted 10% only for their raw profitability.
Okay, thank you. My second question is that you mentioned the Kakao Page. However, related to that, some investors are excited about this company due to opportunity in the Japanese webtoon market due to Picoma, and I was just wondering if if they become very successful in that market, if that could be a risk to your thesis.
Well, we want to give you the answer with the competition in Japan between Picoma and Line Manga. Line Manga is operated in the Line Corporation, and in the third quarter, Line announced that they had the deficit for the third quarter, and this was because of the competition in these content businesses. So we think that this content platform may be great, but considering this high competition, they have to use the promotion expenses, which will not be very low, and this will deteriorate the profitability structure for these companies.
Okay.
Right. I'm going to ask about from the Melon page, fierce competition page. Your slides saying fierce competition because of YouTube, and I just wonder, your team researched how competitive or how limited of raising price in the market, and then how did your team link that competition into your stock, calculation or valuation? It can be understood intuitively, but how did you research in the market status?
First, thank you for your question. First, we focus the YouTube and Melon will provide the same price of their product. However, as you see on this graph, YouTube offers the differentiated service like music and the video content with ad-free and the original video content. The interesting is that the original contents are showing the more than 1 million viewer, and the Melon's paid user are showing decline significantly just after the YouTube launched their own premium service. And for the source of this data, we want to tell you that Korean Internet Company Association, we checked this association's report. For the market share things, we make this market share of music app. The 43% is YouTube and the 28% is of Melon. So we make this high competition evaluation like.
To add more, when we forecast our revenue of this Melon, we just reduce the market share of Melon in the future. And also because as you mentioned before, the revised law will cause the operating margin will drop. So our team focused on these two parts and reflect that part to our valuation.
And to add more, we think that the 100,000 Korean won, the price of current price, is the limitation of their price.